Going live, going live, going live. I'm going live. I'm going live. I think, according to YouTube, I am live. So hello if you're watching this live, hello if you're watching this playback. Thank you for watching. Just before I get to him again, just saying what I said at the end, at the beginning now. So don't really know what I'm saying off the top. That already tells you it's going to be a great live stream already, but no. Thank you for being here if you are here live, or thank you for being here on playback if you're watching this on playback. Thank you for watching. And if you don't know what these live streams are, first of all, I should say that basically these live streams I do about once or twice or maybe even 3 times a week, where I talk about current movie and TV news going on in the movie and TV world right now, or just topics in general. Like today I'm not really talking about any news, but I'm talking about just topics that are kind of being talked about quite a lot right now. And at the same time though, I'll also be answering any live questions sent in. And at the same time though, if you want me to talk about a topic in particular in my next live stream, whenever that will next be, please do let me know in the comment section below, and I'll probably talk about it in my next live stream coming up quite soon on this channel. Also, I should say, by the way, I have hay fever, and basically I could sneeze at any point in this live stream. Who's to say? So I do apologise if I sneeze at any point during this live stream. And at the same time, though, I should also say that I live next to a main road. So if you do hear any cars, tractors, trucks, or even motorbikes go past during this live stream, I do apologise. It interferes with sound. I do apologise. I can't control that. And at the same time, though, I should also say that sometimes it does feel like I live next to a building site, because honestly, there's always drilling going on in both the houses. So if at any point you do hear drilling in the background of this video, again, I can't control that. That's because I simply live next to a building site. Honestly, my neighbours are builders, and it's the most annoying thing ever. Nice neighbours, just it's annoying. But anyway, yes, without further ado, let's get into my 20-second live stream for today. And actually, I'm going to say something off the top. I'm fully vaccinated now. Go and get your vaccine. I'm fully vaccinated. I got my second jab today. I'm really happy now. So, yeah, go and get vaccinated. And I'm going to be talking a bit about why you should get vaccinated, personally for me anyway, in the movie and TV news right now. I'm going to be talking about why you really should get vaccinated a bit later in this live stream. Anyway, but before I talk about that, I'm going to be talking about my first topic. And my first topic today is my spoiler thoughts on The Suicide Squad. You know, the new Suicide Squad movie that's currently out, the new DC movie that is currently out right now. Now, I gave my review of this a couple of days ago, and this isn't going to be a review, by the way. It's going to be just me spit out some thoughts. I'm not going to give a rating or anything like that. I mean, although saying that, I would stick to my original rating that I gave the film. I originally gave the film a 9 out of 10. I would stick that way, by the way. I absolutely love this movie so much. I originally saw it on Friday last week, and funny enough, it doesn't even come out in America till Friday this week. They only had the premiere a couple of days ago, actually, or maybe even last night, I can't remember now. I saw some images from the premiere and everything, and it looked really fun, by the way. You know, John Cena's in his Peacemaker costume constantly at the moment, and the premiere looked great and everything. But the thing is, though, I saw the film, I felt like before the whole cast, which is a bit funny. But anyway, yeah, we saw it in the UK on Friday. That's when it came out in the UK. And honestly, I absolutely adored it. Although, I must admit, it was a bit surreal watching the film when I did on Friday, because I've been waiting for this film for a very long time. And a lot of people, you know, dismiss the DC and Suicide Squad in general. I mean, I would be dismissing this movie if it wasn't directed by James Gunn. And if you don't know who James Gunn is, you know, he directed Guardians of the Galaxy and so on and so on and so on. He's a brilliant director. You know, he made my favourite MCU films today, you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy films. I think he's an incredible director, and that's what got me excited in this film, because he's directing it. If it wasn't James Gunn, I wouldn't be excited for it, and especially since the first Suicide Squad movie, which came out in 2016, was, and part of my French here, shit, I wouldn't be excited for this movie. But the fact is, James Gunn's directing it, so I got very excited for it. So I was watching it in the cinema Friday. It was a bit of a surreal experience, because I was watching a James Gunn film for the first time since 2017 in the cinema, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I liked quite a lot, by the way. And then, honestly, I came out of the cinema with a huge grin in my face, but I also came out of the cinema thinking to myself, I need to go and watch that movie again. So, basically, long story short, a couple of days ago now, on Tuesday evening, I actually went to go watch it with Ollie Taylor, which many people might remember from the Part to the Park video, all about 2 years ago on this channel, by the way. Ollie Taylor, I'm still keeping in touch with me, being a few of my vlogs, actually. But yeah, I went to go and see it with Ollie Taylor, and honestly, it was a lot of fun, actually. We went to go and watch it together. I haven't seen him in a while. Well, it felt like a while anyways, but it only been about a couple of weeks, but still, it felt like a while. And honestly, we had so much fun, and I absolutely adored it. Now, funnily enough, I'm not going to talk much about this, but funnily enough, Ollie didn't, and Ollie hated it. But the thing is, though, Ollie also loves the first Suicide Squad movie, which universally is actually quite a disliked movie, and, you know, it's all subjective and everything. Everyone, you know, everyone's got their own opinion on the movie and things like that, but honestly, Ollie's opinions on movies aren't always the best, to be honest. But, hey, that's his decision, I think. If he didn't like the movie, he didn't like the movie. But, universally, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, or if you just look in general, people are really liking the Suicide Squad, me included. I adored watching it the second time, because I found so much more in the movie the second time than I just didn't find the first time. Now, that wasn't always the best. I did notice some very, very small problems with the film. Just some small continuity issues. Like, there's one moment in the film where, again, okay, I should go here. Spoilers if you don't know anything about this film. Spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, and you're thinking about watching it but you haven't got around to watching it yet. Spoiler alerts! Spoilers! But anyway, yes. There's a spoiler warning in case you didn't get it from the title of this live stream. But yeah, there's one moment in the film where Harley Quinn has sex with one of these, like, Russian generals or something like that. I think it's Russian anyway, I might be wrong there, but apologies if I am. But she has sex with one of the Russian generals, and when you see it happening, basically the floor goes on fire, and then the next shot, the floor's not on fire. It's just a small continuity issues like that throughout the film. But, all in all, I think it's one of the best comic movies I've seen in a very long while. Honestly, I'm probably going to say it's actually my favourite comic book movie I've seen, yeah. And that's including the Guardians of the Galaxy films, which I rate high on my comic book movie list. And at the same time, like Spider-Man 2, which is absolutely fantastic in my opinion. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. And at the same time, though, there's loads of other comic movies I like as well. I don't consider the Dark Knight comic book movies. I think they're great movies, but I don't consider them comic book movies. But the thing is, though, the Suicide Squad for me, the reason I like it so much is because it's different. Nowadays, you get all these, and many people like the MCU movies, and I'm happy if you do, but for me personally, I think quite a lot of the time they're generic, bland, and boring. And that's what I felt about Black Widow. I felt Black Widow was generic, bland, and boring. And so, to come into the Suicide Squad and really enjoy it, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air, having a different, well, not MCU movie, I was about to say a different MCU movie, it's not MCU, it's DC, obviously, but, having a different comic book movie than something like, I don't know, Black Widow, or what happened before Black Widow, Spider-Man Far From Home. I quite enjoyed Spider-Man Far From Home, but in the end, it did feel generic in some parts, more generic than Spider-Man Homecoming did in my opinion as well. And then before that, I don't like Avengers Endgame. I feel like I'm the only person in the world that doesn't like it, and that's fine, but I don't like Avengers Endgame though. But the thing is though, the Suicide Squad felt different than those movies, because in movies like Endgame, in movies like Black Widow, you have the big generic villain, and you have the movie which feels like a studio putting out a movie. It doesn't always feel like a director's vision. And again, this is only my opinion, but honestly, when I'm watching some of those MCU movies, it just kind of feels like, with the exception of Thor Ragnarok and the Guardians of the Galaxy films, I think they clearly have director's visions on them, whether it's Taika Waititi or James Gunn. The thing is, though, with the exception of those films, I feel most of the time, and this isn't just MCU, by the way, I'm making it out as if it's just the MCU, the DC have done it. The DC has done it as well. Even so, you might get a director's vision on something like Man of Steel or something like Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Even so, you might have Zack Snyder's distinctive visual style in that film. It's not always for the best. I'm gonna admit that. I like Zack Snyder quite a lot. I think he's a great director, and I think he can direct good films like Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think that was great. The thing is, though, I don't think his style of filmmaking is as exciting as, say, someone like James Gunn, or say someone like, Edgar Wright, who hasn't actually directed a Marvel movie, though almost did, by the way, but that's neither here or there. But you get my point. So many Marvel movies nowadays, or even DC movies, you just have the generic villain, you just have the generic storyline and everything, and even so, yes, you do have a very similar storyline in this one. There's a good guys, well, not kind of good guys in this film, but, the guys that we follow, and then you have the big bad guy, and they're going to go and stop the big bad guy before it's too late, and the end of the world happens, or something like that. That's what you get in most... That's what you get in all the comic movies, in my opinion. With the exception of a few, that's what you get in most comic movies nowadays. And the thing is, though, James Gunn kind of played on that in this film. The big villain isn't just a guy. He isn't just a half-brother who's mad at his other brother. He isn't just, I don't know, somebody who was trained to go and kill somebody late, early on in the past or something. He isn't just some random generic villain who wants to take over the world. No, the villain in this film is Starro. I think that's what the name is, Starro. The big giant starfish, which I just absolutely love about this film. The fact that the villain is a big giant starfish. The fact that it isn't just a generic MCU villain, or generic DC villain for that matter. Take a look at Aquaman, that's a generic DC villain, or take a look at something like Black Widow, has Ray Winston's villain trying to do a Russian accent, and obviously it really, that baffles me, the fact that Ray Winston's doing a Russian accent in Black Widow. But anyway, that's neither here or there again. But anyway, you get my point. The fact that James Gunn didn't do a generic big villain for this film, and he actually played on the fact that the superheroes have to save the day, because in the end they're not superheroes, they're supervillains. And I know the first Suicide Squad kind of did that, but in the end, that movie there for a lot of reasons. But the thing is, though, in this movie, what works really, really well is the fact that the Suicide Squad that we watch in this movie, they're all fundamentally villains. None of them are heroes. None of them actually save the day in the end. Yes, they save the day from, they kill the big shark, the big starfish in the end from all those people and everything. But bear in mind, quite a lot of people still died. Can we point that out? But in the movie anyway, it's only a comic book movie. Don't take it too seriously. But the thing is, though, yeah, quite a lot of people did die in the movie and everything. But the thing is, though, they didn't do the good thing in the end. They used the footage of the Americans messing with the starfish to actually just get themselves out of prison and everything. That was it. They did something for their own personal significance. They did something because they wanted to. They didn't save the day. They didn't do the right thing. And, say that was Superman in that decision, he would have gone out into the general public and shown all this, footage of the Americans messing with the starfish in space and everything like that. That's what Superman would have done. But no, fundamentally in this film, the villains keep being the villains. They don't save the day in the end. Okay, they save the day kind of, but at the same time, though, they also do something to benefit themselves, which is what villains do, and that's what I like so much about this film. Honestly, there's even one line from Polka Dot Man, which, by the way, I absolutely loved in this film. I absolutely love Polka Dot Man. I think he's a crazy character, and the fact that they got Polka Dot Man in this film, which is so weird. Like, I never thought I would ever talk about a comic book movie which had, Polka Dot Man in, but the fact that there's one scene towards the end of the film where there's one scene towards the end of the film where Polka Dot Man says something on the lines of like, "I'm a superhero," and then he gets killed by the giant starfish. There you go. As soon as he thinks he's a superhero, he gets killed. That's what James Gunn does so well. I've read some reviews where people are saying, oh no, they're fundamentally not villains in this film. They fundamentally are. That's what makes it interesting. That's what makes them, interesting to watch. The fact that they are villains. The fact that they don't change them to be superheroes. They don't magically have powers and everything. And they don't magically save the day for the good. Yes, they save the day in a way. But at the same time, though, because they save all these lives and everything. But at the same time, though, they also do something to benefit themselves. They don't release what they really should release out into the general public, which is what I really like about this film. And at the same time, though, this film is clearly a James Gunn film. Watching it again, I noticed quite a lot of James Gunn's, distinctive visual stamps in there, or just whether it's a soundtrack or something like that. And by the way, on the top of the soundtrack, if you watched my first review of this movie, I talked about the fact that I didn't love the soundtrack. Now I absolutely love it. Honestly, James Gunn does his fantastic film with his soundtracks, whether the soundtracks to the Guardians of the Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, or even Sliver, one of his early horror films from I think that movie came out back in 2000 and, I think it came out in 2004 now, but that's never here or there either. But anyway, get my point. James Gunn does his fantastic thing with his soundtracks for his movies, which it just makes them so interesting and exciting, just the soundtracks, and I just love the way he inserts his music into his film, which shouldn't work, but actually kind of does. Like, oh my god, no, my stream's cutting out a bit. Damn it. Apparently my stream's cutting out a bit. Okay, so apologies if the stream cut out a bit there. I just saw that my stream was cutting out a bit there. So apologies if that did happen. I've got no control over the stream cutting out. But anyway, you get my point. Yeah, back to my point and what I was making. The whole thing with the soundtrack to the movie. James Gunn does this fantastic thing where he inserts music into his movie, like songs or something like that, which shouldn't work, but they do. Like, one of the examples I used was, what's that song, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? I forgot it was now. Come a little bit closer. You see Rocket and Yondu killing all these people in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where just a song "Come a Little Bit Closer" is played in the background, and it shouldn't work, but because of James Gunn, it does. And at the same time, though, in this film, you have Just a Gigolo, which is such a weird song, by the way, playing in the background of Harley Quinn's action sequence, and again, it shouldn't work, but because of James Gunn, it does. And that's fundamentally, that's another fantastic thing why this film works so well. And by the way, my stream is cutting in and out there. I apologise if the stream does cut in and out. I can't control that, but I've just had a message up on YouTube saying my stream isn't getting enough. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So apologies if I do cut out because of the streaming. I can't control that. I just got a message up then. But anyway, I'm going to continue on with my spoiler thoughts for the Suicide Squad. Honestly, I love the soundtrack of the film now, and I didn't initially, but I love that I do now. I love that. I kind of felt the same way about the soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I didn't love it initially, but now I do, and that's the same way I feel about the Suicide Squad soundtrack. And annoyingly, I'm only getting like bits of the soundtrack on Spotify. Like you see, sometimes on Spotify they make a playlist out of some of the songs in the film because the soundtrack hasn't officially been released yet. Because of course, the film hasn't actually come out officially in the US. Which, I find a bit annoying, I'm not going to lie, because I want to have the official soundtrack of the film. I want to go and buy it now because I actually quite like the soundtrack of the film, and I know a lot of people complain about the soundtrack, but personally, I really like it. And at the same time, though, I'm making a list here. Let's have a quick look at my list. If I missed out anything here, ooh, yeah. I think I pretty much covered everything actually of my list that I've made there. I'm gonna cover a couple more things just before I move on to my second topic. Another thing I really like about the film is, like I said, they're all villains in this film. Even Viola Davis' character, who recruits all the Suicide Squad to actually go and do their mission, to go and find out what's behind Project Starfish. She's still fundamentally a villain. Viola Davis' character, who we know from the first film, who sets all these DC villains out to go and do that mission, she's still a villain as well, which I really like about it. She almost in the end ends up killing the villains, ends up killing the Suicide Squad when they're on the mission, and they decide to go elsewhere and don't, decide to go off grid and decide to go and try and kill the huge giant starfish. Viola Davis' character, who controls them all, who has that chip in the back of the head, and she can control whether she lets his chip, set off and everything like that. You see she's the villain because she almost does that, and that's really fun. And that's another thing which I think is fantastic about her character: the fact that she's a villain, the fact that they're all villains in the film. And keeping on the topic of villains for a sec, I should also say some people I've seen reviews of have criticised the villain in this film for not being that interesting. I disagree. First of all, it's a giant starfish. What is not interesting about that, and what is not fun about that? Okay. I'm gonna play a little quiz now. Can anyone remember the villain from, let's say, Captain America: The First Avenger? Can anyone remember the villain from Captain America: Civil War? Can anyone remember the villain from the first Thor movie? Can anyone remember the villain from Aquaman? Can anyone remember the villain from Wonder Woman 1984? You might be able to, if you know the movies quite well, but what I'm trying to get at is they're not nearly as memorable as a big giant starfish. Starro, whatever his name is, you get the point. I just love that about the film. And the fact is, the James Gunn, he used a big giant starfish as his villain. That's the main villain of the film. Not like a half over like in Aquaman or something like that. Not some guy who's painted red in the Captain America First Avenger film. No, instead, it's just a big giant starfish, which I actually love about this film. And I've also seen some people say it's not that interesting. Actually, the starfish does something quite interesting in the end. Like, by the way, there's a small nod to Alien in this film. Well, not a small nod, actually, quite a big nod to Alien, where you see all the you see all the mini starfish come out, the big starfish, you see all the mini starfish come out, the big starfish and everything like that, and basically they all go on people's faces like that. And it's straight out of Alien, by the way. The 1979 Ridley Scott film. It's straight out of Alien. Such a fantastic film, by the way. And when you first see the alien on someone's... basically, when you first see the alien on someone's face... I forgot what it's called, by the way, in Alien. But when you first see the alien on someone's face, in Alien, it's like that. It crawls over his face. And that's what the starfish do, again, in this film. Like, when you see all the mini starfish on people's faces, like that. And it's just straight up not to Alien. Honestly, don't believe me. Go and look it up on Alien. Go and look up an Alien. Go and look up on Google if you don't know what I'm talking about. But it's a straight up nod to Alien in this movie when you see all the starfish on people's faces like that. It's a straight up nod to Alien, by the way. But anyway, when you see all those people with the starfishes on their face and things like that, at the very end, when the starfish gets killed by all the rats, by the way, Ratcatcher 2 is a great character, by the way. The fact that we had Ratcatcher 2, again, in a comic book movie, genuinely surprised me. Never thought I'd see a character called Ratcatcher 2 in a movie, which is actually a really, really good character. But here we are, we're in 2021 now, weirder things have happened. But anyway, basically, when you see all the rats kill the starfish, and at the very end when the starfish is dying, and there's that one person who communicates with the starfish, and you've got the starfish on their face and everything like that, and that person just says, something like this, I'm paraphrasing this, he says like something on lines of, all I wanted to do was float around in space, and then you captured me, and something like that. I'm paraphrasing it, but you get the point. The fact that just with that one line after the starfish has died, it adds more to that character. You just realise that all along, yes, even so this was a big giant starfish, I thought the stream got out there for a sec, sorry. Even so this was just a big giant starfish, all he wanted to do in the end was float around in space, and he couldn't because of what the Americans did to the starfish. And it just adds that bit more to the character. I don't know if everyone remembers that line in the movie, which is like, all I wanted to do is float around in space or something like that. And honestly, I remember sitting in the cinema and just getting that line, and honestly just thinking to myself, wow, up to this point, the giant starfish has been a bit of a joke. Actually, no, I wouldn't say joke, but at the same time, though, it's not being taken too seriously. In the end, the fight off a big starfish in this movie. But then when you get to that final scene, and you see that character say, all I want to do is float around in space, and it's something like that, again, I'm paraphrasing it. it just adds so much more to that character. And that's what I really like about this scene. The fact that, yes, it's just a big giant starfish in the end, but James Gunn brilliantly just adds some depth to that character. And like I said before, there's so much more in this film that shouldn't work. I could go on and on about it, like the scene where you go into the supervillains, actually go and drink in a bar. Again, that scene shouldn't work, but it does because of James Gunn. And in fact, they have Peter Capaldi in there, who obviously played the 12th Doctor as the Thinker, one of his big villains in the film. And again, he shouldn't work in the film, but he does because of James Gunn. And I think that's why the film works fundamentally overall. And pardon me there, I think that's why the film works fundamentally overall, because of James Gunn. His hands were all over the film in the best way possible, and I absolutely love this film. And if you didn't watch my review, and you want to know my rating, basically, I'm only going to reiterate my rating here. This is not a full review anyway, I'm just giving out some spoiler faults here. But yes, if you want to know my rating on the film, it was a 9 out of 10. Go and check it out if you haven't already, or if you're in the US and you're watching this, go and check it out when it comes out. Honestly, it's absolutely fantastic. It's so much fun to watch. It's really entertaining. It's now one of my favourite comic movies of all time. It's definitely probably my favourite DC movie today. And honestly, and by the way, it's not counting the Dark Knight films. I'm not counting them. I don't count them as the current DC films. I mean, DC started from Man of Steel onwards. But anyway, get my point. It's my favourite DC movie today. I really enjoyed it. And honestly, it's so different than any comic movie nowadays in the best way possible. And also, by the way, it is rated 15. So if you do go watch this movie, beware, because there is some weird bits of nudity in there, some weird bits of gore. Actually, not some, well, quite a lot of gore in there, actually. And at the same time, though, there's quite a lot of references for a much more mature audience. So bear in mind that if you go watch this film, it is aimed at older audience. But saying that, though, I absolutely loved it, and I'm actually thinking about watching it again. Hopefully I do, if I can fit it in the next couple of days. But if not, I'm definitely buying it on DVD as soon as it comes out. Honestly, it's brilliant, and I absolutely adore the Suicide Squad. And so that's my end of topic number 1 for today. Those are my spoiler thoughts on James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. So, without further ado, let's move into topic number 2. But just before I do, it's going to get a little drink here. Give me a sec. Again, apologies if the stream cuts out here. I got a message here saying that the stream cut out. That's saying that the stream could cut out. Apologies if it does. But anyway, let's move on to topic number 2 today. And topic number 2 today is, will movies be delayed in the upcoming months? Now, the reason I'm talking about this topic today is, by the way, I've got Bond up there. If people don't realise, Bond has been delayed so many times. So that's why I've got it up there. And imagine if Bond does get delayed. Imagine if Bond does get delayed again. It'd be quite funny, actually. And I'm going to talk about that again a bit later in this live stream. But anyway, the reason I'm talking about this today is the fact that I'm seeing that some movies are getting delayed. Some movies are, yes, aimed at maybe a smaller demographic, but they are getting delayed. Like The Green Knight in this country, in the UK, has been delayed. And obviously, there's another movie called Clifford the Big Red Dog, which, I'm not going to go and see that movie. But there's a demographic that will see that movie, which has been delayed. And obviously probably quite a family audience, so that tells you something in itself. So films are being delayed, yeah? None of the big movies, not like Shang-Chi or not Bond or something like that. No, none of the big movies have really been delayed yet. That's the key word there, yet. But it could happen. And I think it's worrying, to be honest. And this is where I'm going to say it again. Get vaccine. Go and get your vaccination, no matter what. If you're watching and haven't got a vaccination, you don't believe in it. Believe in it. COVID's a real thing. It's not a. I remember when Republicans in America were saying like, this is just all a big hoax by the Democrats. Clearly it's not anymore. Just clearly it's not. COVID's a real thing and everything like that. I know I'm a bit behind there and everything, but you get my point. Go and get vaccinated, because bad things are happening. And in my world, bad things are happening with movies and TVs. Well, maybe not TV shows, but movies being delayed possibly again, which really, really aggravates me, to be honest. Because, Bond, let's look at what it says on the poster there. April 2020. We're in August 2021. And there's a good chance that this film might not come out come September 2021, when it's meant to come out in the UK. Which, it's just, I feel sorry for the Bond producers. I know I've said before I'm not excited for the Bond film, but at the same time, though, I do feel sorry for the Bond producers having this movie on their shelf, having a finished Bond movie, which has taken so long to come back with. Bear in mind, the last Bond movie was Spectre back in 2015. So, having a finished Bond movie on your shelf since April 2020, and having trying to get it out with it was meant to come out what was it, November 2020, and then that got pushed back, and then it was meant to come out in I think April 2021, then obviously got pushed back again, then obviously being pushed back again to September 2021, or if you're in America, it's October 2021. But you get my point, the fact that the Bond producers have just had this film on their shelf since April 2020, which is just, well, that just baffles me. The fact that I think Daniel Craig might be Bond for like so long now, and not intentionally because of the virus. But anyway, it's not just Bond I'm talking about. It's Shang-Chi as well, and Legend of the Ten Rings. At the same time, it's The Eternals, it's Halloween Kills, all these movies which are meant to be coming out soon, but will they actually come out? I think it's a big question right now, and honestly, my opinion on it, it's 50-50. I think it could go either way right now. Honestly, I think if you flip a coin, it could go either way. And honestly, I don't know. It really could go either way right now. Like even so, the cases, as far as I'm aware, and I might be wrong here, and apologize if I am, even so, the cases of coronavirus in this country, in the UK, aren't that bad in my opinion. As far as I'm aware, by the way, and I might be completely wrong there, and apologize if I am. As far as I know, the COVID cases are fine in this country right now, but that's only in the UK. I know in the US, the amount of COVID cases have been rising, and things though about the Soviet truck outside now. The amount of COVID cases in the US have been rising, and the thing is though, in the end, when you're releasing a movie like Bond, or a movie like Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, or a movie like The Eternals, or I'd even know Spider-Man No Way Home, which is my most anticipated movie for this year, if you're releasing a movie like that, you want your American audience, you want your UK audience, you want this global audience to go watch your movie, and that might not be the case. So even if the cases are fine in the UK, and that's only as far as I'm aware they are, and I might be completely wrong, I've said that already, but even if the cases are fine in the UK, they might not be fine in the US. And so what might happen is films get delayed, and then the UK, fingers crossed, cinemas still stay open, and maybe we get some older films again, like we did back in March 2020. I remember that when Tenet came out. You remember the Christopher Nolan film Tenet? When it came out in 2020, in March 2020, I think it was March anyway. When it came out in March 2020, I remember that movie did bad at the box office. Well, it didn't do bad, but it didn't do great anyway. It didn't do what Warner Bros. Wanted it to do. So they released a bunch of old movies again, because there wasn't really any new movies coming out. I mean, there was a couple of new movies, but no big new movies. And so they released a couple of old films in the cinema. I remember back in March of 2020, I actually went to go watch, Jurassic Park in the cinema for the first time, which was incredible. And I went to go watch Star Wars 5, The Empire Strikes Back in the cinema for the first time. Again, incredible. I went to go watch Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers in the cinema. Again, another incredible experience. That was kind of nice in my opinion. And so that was kind of one of the benefits from, a pandemic like cinema and everything like that. And I'm not saying there's been much benefits from the pandemic, but personally for me, that was kind of one of the benefits. But I know the pandemic's been hard on quite a lot of people, and so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with movies come later on this year, whether they will get pushed back or whether they won't. And honestly, if Bond gets pushed back again, I think people are going to go mental. I might literally just be laughing my head off. Honestly, I'll make a stream about it if Bond gets pushed back again, because I'll literally be laughing my head off again. Because imagine that. Imagine if Bond gets pushed back to 2022, which, by the way, will be ironic, because 2022 will be the 60th anniversary of the first Bond film, Dr. No. So that would actually be kind of suiting if it did get pushed back to 2022. I don't think it will be. Although saying that though, like I said before, it's 50-50. I don't think at the moment. I hope not though. That's what my feelings are. I hope not. That's why I don't think it will be. But who's to say? Who's to say come September? Who's to say when films might get pushed back? Can we point out as well that the trailer of Venom Let There Be Carnage, which came out a couple of days ago now, at the end of that trailer of the second Venom film, a specific date was not, said at the end of that trailer. It wasn't saying coming September 23rd. By the way, I don't know if that's the actual release date for Venom 2, but you get my point. It didn't actually say at the end of the trailer coming September 23rd. It said coming this fall. So you've got to think that with a movie like, Clifford the Big Red Dog, it's going to be a movie that brings a family demographic in. I don't know if that's not a movie which many people are going to be talking about, or it's not going to be in, people's most anticipated movies on the list or something like that. But the thing is, you get my point, even when a movie like Clifford the Big Red Dog is delayed, you've got to think that there are some studios out there, like Sony, who, in charge of, Venom Let There Be Carnage and Spider-Man No Way Home, and Ghostbusters Afterlife for that, man. Man, if Ghostbusters Afterlife is delayed, I'm going to be so annoyed, because I'm looking forward to that movie. But the thing is, though, if those movies are delayed, if Clifford the Big Black Dog is delayed, you've got to think that other studios, like Sony and like Disney, so, Disney have all Marvel and things like that, you've got to think that maybe those studios are considering delaying other things. I mean, again, this is just pure speculation, as I say, but the thing is, though, you're gonna think that maybe there's some conversations right now with the studios, with people at Marvel saying, is it going to be right to release Eternals in November when it's meant to come out? Is it going to be, or Sony, is it going to be okay to release Venom 2 and still get the box office we want out of it when it's meant to come out late September? I don't know it is meant to come out late September, by the way, I just don't know when late September. But you get my point. It's going to be interesting come late September this year, or come soon, to be honest. I'm really interested to see what happens with these films. Fingers crossed it don't get pushed back, because I want to see these movies. I want to go and see No Time to Die. I know I'm not excited for it, but I want to see it. It's a Bond movie at the end, and honestly, I haven't actually seen a Bond movie in the cinema yet. I don't think I saw Spectre in the cinema. No, I haven't seen a Bond movie in the cinema, so it'll be a first for me. At the same time, though, I want to see Shang-Chi. I want to see if I get proven wrong in that film. I want to see The Eternals. I'm looking forward to that film. I want to see Spider-Man No Way Home more than anything, and there's a good chance that film could be delayed yet. Bear in mind, we haven't had a trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, and I'm not saying it comes to the pandemic, but I'm also saying I think it could be a factor. I think the pandemic could be a factor as to why we haven't had a trailer for No Way Home yet. I know I talked about it. I talked about it in my last live stream. I can't remember. One of the live streams in the past, where I did talk about the fact that I do think we haven't got a trailer for No Way Home yet because maybe Sony are happy with anticipation, but maybe it's also because of the pandemic. We don't know. We just simply don't know. And it's annoying. It's annoying for someone like me who's looking forward to these movies. Like movies like Dune, movies like Ghostbusters Afterlife, which could be delayed simply because people aren't getting vaccinated and people have these weird beliefs about them. I mean, I know Eric Clapton, who, by the way, is an incredible artist. He's against the vaccine. And, everyone's got their own personal opinion. But he's wrong there. You need to get vaccinated, and the fact that people aren't getting vaccinated is going to have the whole domino effect thing. Eventually, movies will get pushed back again. Or if people don't get vaccinated, that's the point I'm trying to get at. If people don't get vaccinated, movies get pushed back, and much worse things happen as well. But I'm here to talk about movies and stuff. So it's going to be quite annoying if movies do get pushed back again. I understand why they will be though, because studios want the big box office with movies like Dune, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Venom, and pardon me there, so on and so on and so on. But the thing is though, I hope it's not. I hope we don't have a repeat of last year. But again, it's 50-50 in my opinion. It could go either way. Fingers crossed it goes away, that we do get these movies come September, come October, come November, come Christmas. Fingers crossed we do get, The King's Man, which I keep forgetting it's coming out, but I haven't seen it, and I'm really excited to see it. Fingers crossed, come Christmas we get, Spielberg's West Side Story. Fingers crossed, come Christmas we get Spider-Man No Way Home. Fingers crossed, come October we get, Halloween Kills and Ghostbusters Afterlife, whenever that's meant to come out. And, so many other films as well. Fingers crossed, come September we get Shang-Chi. Fingers crossed we get No Time to Die. Fingers crossed we get The Eternals and things like that. There's so many other movies come out that I just haven't mentioned. Dune, No Time to Die, just so on and so on and so on. You get my point? Fingers crossed that these movies get released. But honestly, I just don't know. It could go either way. And I think the studios are in a real pickle right now. Because even so, as far as I'm aware here, even so the cases are fine in the UK, they're rising in the US. And the US is a big market for movies like Venom and, Marvel in general. And, Dune and so on and so on and so on. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens come September, come October, come November, come Christmas. But fingers crossed, I get to go to the cinema this Christmas. I didn't last Christmas and it really annoyed me. I really want to go and see 11984 at the cinema last Christmas. And even so, I have seen that movie since and I didn't love it. I didn't particularly like it either. But the thing is though, even so I didn't particularly like it, it just would have been nice to see a movie at the cinema last Christmas, and I didn't. And fingers crossed I get to see a movie this Christmas. And fingers crossed I get to see the movie at the cinemas this Christmas. And fingers crossed as well, it's Spider-Man No Way Home. Man, I'm excited for that movie. I still haven't got a trailer yet. But anyway, you get my point. I think it's 50-50 right now, and I think films could get pushed back, but fingers crossed they don't. And so that's my opinion on whether movies will get delayed yet this year. Honestly, I think it's 50-50, but fingers crossed it doesn't happen. But At the same time, though, I can also see it happening as well. But anyway, that's the end of topic number 2 today. So that's the end of my live stream as a whole. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I probably do have a viewer, so thank you for watching if you are watching this live. Well, according to YouTube, I have a viewer. I don't know how true YouTube is actually. But anyway, get my point. Thank you for watching this live. If you haven't watched this live, if you're watching the playback, thank you for watching this and playback as well. And if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like subscribe on this video or the live stream, should I say. And at the same time, though, if you want me to talk about a topic in particular in my next live stream, please do let me know in the comment section below, and I'll probably talk about that in my next live stream coming quite soon on this channel, probably a bit later on, probably, I don't know when the next live stream is going to be, maybe sometime the weekend, but until then, we'll have to wait and see, and fingers crossed, everything happens, fingers crossed, everything goes well in the upcoming months, and all films come out when they're meant to, but we'll have to wait and see, but until then, guys, thanks for watching, and see you guys again soon. But bye for now. Bye.